Hey guys, this is Dr. M. And I want to talk about the miracles when actually people really heal from conditions that really nobody thought that they would be able to heal. They were actually the underdog, and yet they still overcame them. And, practicing for over 21 years, I'm not going to say that everybody can heal, but there are some common elements that when you do see this like supernatural healing that occurs in people, there are some common elements, and I'm going to just address two of those. There's more than two, but I want to address two of those to keep this video short. The first one is that they actually had, there was a couple absolute elements. One of them would be that they actually believed in some type of like supernatural power that they were actually connected to. And so it was like this like network of like a supercomputer that they were actually downloading information from like the mother computer. And it was like they had an invisible umbilical cord that they were connected to that higher, greater power. And so what happens is typically when they had the diagnosis, as shocking as it may be, something in them awoke in them, and they realized that supernatural power, that they needed to be connected to it at a much deeper level. And so like any relationship, they had to nurture it, they had to be present, and they had to literally come to a point where they were really like at the highest level possible. They were just so connected to this power. The other thing is that they also, second thing I've seen is that they take on a personal responsibility. That there could have been a contributing factor was that their mismanagement of their emotions. And so that could have led to their stress or their imbalances of their hormones, of their chemicals, of their neurotransmitters, of their cortisol levels. And so they realized that they had to somehow or the other figure out a way to be able to control the level of stress they were in. And so those two elements, there's more than that, but the two elements for right now what we're talking about is people that have really gone through some, they call it in the medical literature, they call it spontaneous remission, if you want to call it healing, supernaturally, whatever you want to call it. The common elements that I've seen is that they believed in some supernatural power. They really felt like they were connected to it, and then they nurtured it. And then the second thing was that they took personal responsibility for their emotional state, and they somehow figured out a way to be able to deal with a difficult situation that they were under. And that began the process of them actually beginning to start healing. I can tell you this from my own wife, that I kind of coached her through this when she was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, is the doctor told her, she'd be in a wheelchair, you're going to learn to live with it. And it was just amazing. I felt very connected to that supernatural power and prayed on her every day. Had her visualize, and really the stress that she was under, we figured out a way to help manage that stress. And together, we saw some really miracles, and literally 20 some years later, she's healthier now than she's ever been. And so I'm not saying these things always happen, but what I'm saying is when they do happen, there are some common elements in this spontaneous remission of what people do when they actually do heal.